This conference will now be recorded.
He's got to get another headset, maybe. I'm recording it now, so we at least got record that we showed up.
Okay.
Excellent.
Eric, can you hear us yet? No?
No,
I think he can hear us. He just can't.
we can't hear him.
Yeah. Eric, if you can, on the top right of the screen, there's a gear for your settings. And when you click it, you'll see audio. Make sure that your microphone, if you don't have a microphone, if the web camera normally has a microphone on it, make sure to click that as your.
I had no idea that's what that little gear thingy was for up there.
See, Greta
Okay, can
keeps
you
us
hear me
all
now?
covered.
Or?
Yes. Now we can hear you.
Yay! Hi, Eric.
Hi.
You saying hi to everybody?
It's Riley. I can hear her. She's saying hi. All right, I just, there's
Yeah.
Riley.
Hi, Riley.
Hi,
Hello.
Riles.
Hello.
She said I got my bottle. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Thanks, after
I'm good.
Dad.
She ate good today.
Good for her.
Definitely. All right, I just texted Sophie again to say, where are you? Yeah, I hear you, Riley. So how's it going, Eric?
It's going good. Got some more
Good.
snow here in Buffalo, so
Did you really? Wow.
yeah.
All right, we're getting Rick on. We're getting Dave Engel on. And there's Sophie. Sophie has to unmute. Mr. Ancan's on.
Hello, everyone.
There's Sophie. Excellent. Are you going to be on screen, Sophie?
I have some slides and a live demo that I can share, so I'd love presenting rights if that's okay.
Yeah, Rick, do you want to give her presenting rights?
Sure.
Okay, Rick's going to give you presenter rights.
Awesome.
Mr. Dave, welcome. You're hearing Riley in the background.
I'll mute when I need to.
Yeah, you'll mute, Brett. Excellent. All right, Sophie, do you have your video turned on, Sophie?
You know, I'm still getting everything configured.
Okay. There we go. Now we got you.
Hi, everyone.
There's
Hello.
everybody.
It's nice to meet you all. I'm getting everything set up to share so you don't see my very messy computer screen.
Yeah, that's all right. We're all in quarantine, you know. Rick, I loved your outfit from last night. That you
It's a Zoom suit.
It's a Zoom. It was perfect. Rick said what you have to have on when you're doing go to meetings. It was perfect. You need to share that out to everyone. It's hysterical.
You can send it out to
Oh, that's true. I will. I should have said.
you can send it on, but it is quite I actually had a good friend. I've been in touch with him the last couple of days. He's been in this video conference business for years, 50 years, and he does that.
There's Stacy. Yeah.
Hey.
Is he really? God. Michael Singer's on here too. But yeah, the suit was just perfect. It's what you need. Rick had it's a zoot suit, right? Explain it to him real quick. It's hysterical.
I can't explain it. You'll have to send it.
Don't explain it. You need to wear it.
Yeah. It's where
You
I
need
go
to wear it,
for
Rick.
all of our go-to meetings. It's hysterical.
Everybody will want to do an Answer Cancer support group.
That's right.
You wear that.
I guarantee you.
We hope.
It is. Yes.
We hope. And by the way, all of you are invited to the Healthy Voices conference on Saturday, which is usually invitation only, and you have to apply to get in, and it's pretty competitive. But because of the pandemic, they have made it a virtual conference this year.
Oh,
And
cool.
anybody can join. I'll put the link in the chat window momentarily.
Perfect.
It's free, and I'm going to be presenting, but only for a very short time. I think what time am I? 1:30 Eastern. I'm presenting.
And that's on Saturday.
Yeah, I sent you a note, Peggy. You'll find
I remember. Yeah, I remember seeing it. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The itinerary, the agenda is the whole day, and there may be some things in there that you'll find that you really like. And it's a conference for patient advocates, specifically for patient advocates across the board. Everything
Excellent.
from cancer to mental illness to multiple sclerosis to you name it. So
Fantastic.
they people from across from all over, IBD and a lot of different things. It's a very, very good conference.
Fantastic. Mr. Michael Singer, are you there? We only see your letters.
I'm here. Do you see me?
Yeah, I can't see your beautiful face. You don't have your video on.
Let me check.
And Patty.
Yeah, where's Patty? Too? There's Michael.
Patty's right behind me.
Where's Patty?
All right. Excellent.
Wait, baby.
Yeah, he's the face of our citizens. We have to have him and Patty here.
Hi,
Definitely.
Patty.
Well,
You can say hi.
you know, it's officially 5:05, and we'll hopefully get more and more on. But I just want to let you all know, today would have been the beginning of our conference with Mama Burgers. So I hope you can smell the Mama Burgers in the background cooking. But in honor of everybody, but we pushed it off to August the 6th, and pray to God this pandemic is somewhat in the wind, away from all of us, and we can still pull this whole thing off this year. And that's our hope, even if we have to move it again. But we're hoping by August everybody's in great shape. So just a real quick, if everybody looks at your screen at the top, does everybody know each other, or should we do an introduction real quick? Start with Pat. Let's just go. Pat, introduce yourself real quick.
Hi, I'm Pat. I'm Pat Washburn. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, and my husband passed away with breast cancer.
Excellent. And Brett, you're next.
Brett Miller and Riley. Just hanging out with us.
Riley!
I'll mute when I'm not needed to talk. So she
That's right.
Everybody.
She had so much to say. She's such a mouth.
And
Too cute.
over here in Kansas.
And then we have Eric there. Eric.
Hi, I'm Eric from Niagara Falls, New York. Yeah.
Excellent.
Been here for 2 years.
Yeah, he's one of our goodies there. And Mr. Rick, you're next.
I'm Rick Davis. I am just part of the ANCAM team.
He's the one that makes it possible. So he's our wonderful, wonderful guy. And Mr. David.
Hi, I'm David Engel. I live in Port Townsend, Washington, about as far west as you can go on the continent. And I'm in my 16th month of recovery.
Yes, excellent. And then Miss Sophie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sophia. I lead partnerships here at Citizen. I've been with the team almost a year now, which is pretty wild. Time flies when you're having fun, they say. And it's a pleasure to get to meet all of you today. I want to say thank you for inviting Stacey and I to join your support group, and we're really excited to share kind of some updates from Citizen that we've been hard at work with, and then also preview some of the first research that we're leveraging the platform for. So it's really nice to meet you all, and looking forward to getting to hang out together today.
Excellent. And Miss Stacy.
Hi, I'm Stacy. I know some of you. I am almost 7 years out from my own early stage breast cancer diagnosis. And I met Michael, where did we meet?
Probably at the SABCS, maybe.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
But I met Michael, and then very quickly I met Pat, and then very quickly I met Peggy. And I was already an advocate in the cancer space and was really taken with some of the additional challenges that the male breast cancer community has. So for the last several years, I've been trying to work on solutions hither, tither, and yon with not only people getting access to their own health data so that they can make the best decisions for themselves, but getting some control over that data, and especially in some of the populations where the research is hard to come by. We know that research and pharmaceutical companies are motivated by large amounts of data. So I'm super excited to be with you. I've been on the Citizen team in a bunch of various different capacities for several years now. So I'm excited to see some new faces and hoping that what we share with you today is interesting to you as well. And I'm in Santa Clara, California, which is now evidently the new epicenter of coronavirus.
Oh, swell.
So, yeah.
And the last but not least, our Mr. Michael Singer.
Hi, everybody. I'm Michael Singer. I'm coming to you from the Bronx. We're about to get slammed with a heavy storm here. I'm 9.5 years out, thriver. I'm also a lead advocate for the coalition and an ambassador for Citizen, and I'm just happy to be here. And Patty is floating around behind me. We're just wrapping up dinner.
That's wonderful. And Michael, what was the date of your diagnosis? I don't have that on file. Can you give me that?
My cancerversary would be December 8th. I call that, that was the biopsy results when they told me I had cancer, and then I had a mastectomy several days later.
Okay, so that was in what year? 2009?
2010.
2010, so the same year Brett was. Okay, cool.
So you can say December 8th, 2010.
All right, cool. I'm going to mark that down now on our record. So, all right. So, Sophia, why don't you get started and let us know all the exciting new changes with the Citizens?
Sure thing. And I am newer to this community than Stacy. And maybe to start, I'd love to, maybe by a show of hands, understand if anyone is a Citizen user already, kind of what is the familiarity with the group, just so that we can kind of tailor our time together. So Michael is on the platform, David,
Brett.
And Brett. Okay, great.
Eric, are you using it yet? Yeah, Eric's using it now. He was. So I think you got all the guys here using it at this point.
Wonderful. Well, we're excited to show you some new product features that we've been hard at work at. Things like easier onboarding, how to re-request records so that your Citizen profile stays up to date, as well as the ability to import your portal data so that you have both your complete medical record as well as any of the information in your MyChart or Epic. You can kind of merge those together now in your Citizen profile. So when we kind of jump into a live demonstration, I'll be sure to point those out, given we have a high number of people who are familiar, and maybe we can all follow along on respective profiles. Ben, maybe to start, Stacy, do you want to just kind of kick us off in terms of quick background, or how do you suggest we dive in? I know you've hung out with this fine crew before, so I want to make sure we're using time well.
I was stymied by the mute unmute button, so you would think that on technology for the last 38 days I would be good at it. I think if everybody's on the platform, we could go through the whole story. I think it's important for me, and I don't know if it's important for you, to just reiterate the fact that in a day and age where there are a lot of technology companies out there, there's a lot of organizations that give you apps, it's important to be aware of what they're doing with your data. And so I do like to get in front of people, and I do like to get in front of that question, and I do like to remind people that when you choose to join the Citizen platform, when you choose to pull your health data together and aggregate it in one place, the only person that controls that data, the only organization that controls that data is you. And so I'm excited that, we've grown. Some of you, I know Michael joined pretty early, and, the process was a little bit clunky. There have been a lot of improvements, and a lot of that comes from some of the feedback that our early users have given us. But I think what I'm most excited now about is that we're actually starting to draw that line. So originally it was get your data so you can make the best choices for you and have it in one place before it goes away. But we always knew that we wanted to open up the opportunity to individuals to share that data in a way that they felt comfortable with. So with research or with a community, building a registry, something like that. And so after Sophia kind of goes maybe through the new experience and some of the new features, we do have a project that's happening in the breast cancer space specifically, in the metastatic breast cancer space specifically, but unique to a lot of studies in breast cancer, it actually is open to men. So I'm excited to be here with you.
Excellent. I had a bit of glitchy internet. Can people hear me?
I can.
Awesome. And I believe I am currently sharing my screen. Can people see a deck with both the Male Breast Cancer Coalition and Citizen logos?
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stay kind of just in this present mode. I'm going to click through really quickly, just kind of what Citizen is. As Stacy said, you know, we are, oh boy, this is getting complicated. We're just going to stick here, guys. You, like Stacy said, you'd think we'd be pros by now, having done this for many, many weeks, but here we are. Again, you know, we do three things. We gather your raw records, we normalize them and make them research ready, and then we make it easy for you to consent to share with whomever you choose. As users, this should be familiar to you. I'm going to go right ahead and instead show some of the new product features that may be new to some of you. So as a reminder, the Citizen platform is web app native. That means you can access it both on a mobile phone or a desktop, and the experience is the same. There's no apps to download, nothing to keep up to date. This is the create your account screen, which you all know. When you jump into the product, the new onboarding flow looks a little bit like this. So we have added kind of this pizza tracker, it's called, to kind of let you know which stage of the onboarding flow you're in. And again, given that all of you are already users, this is how you would add any new providers you see, or maybe one that you didn't add the first time you signed up. It's very common that you get your records back and you discover that, you know, I don't know, maybe your radiation oncology records aren't included because they were actually done at a facility that was outside of the health system. Things like that can happen. And so you always have the ability to go back in and request additional institutions, both as you continue to receive care or as you kind of learn what you do and don't have. This process now, instead of, if you recall, going through facility by facility, we've added kind of a shopping cart so that you're able to add multiple facilities at once rather than onboard each and go through the process by facility. We will ask you the same questions that we did previously regarding if you had records or imaging or both at this facility, as well as the inclusion of any sensitive records. So that should be familiar, but hopefully a little easier to navigate. Are there any questions in this first step of selecting your providers?
Sophie, another question about the providers, but can you make your screen bigger without seeing the outside of the homepage?
Oh, cancel. So let's see, does this make it better?
No.
No, I
No.
only see half of it now.
Yeah, we've lost it. Yeah.
Oh,
If
boy.
it's a problem, put it back to where it was.
There we go. Yeah.
Are you able to go into presenter mode, Sophia?
So when I go into presenter mode, it seems to be lost.
Cut it off. Yeah.
The sharing screen.
Okay.
I'll work with it. I'll just focus better.
Okay. Yeah, I have one question. Through the pandemic now, is it a lot longer to, are the same requirements of the 30 days that you all previously had. Is it getting delayed now to get this information gathered if somebody were just newly to sign up?
That's a great question, Peggy. And, while we've certainly had outlier facilities reach out to us and ask for an extension outside of the 30 days, I would say overwhelmingly we're continue to see our timelines be what we've seen historically. Hospitals understand that accessing medical records is a core service. And so we actually haven't seen any major impact to our ability to get records, but I will say we've probably had about half a dozen record requests take a little longer, but really the impact has been far less than we actually were expecting. So
Anticipating.
That's
wonderful, because now with this and being the virus and all that, you need your records faster now than anything.
Yeah.
God forbid if you were to get the symptoms and stuff, especially being a cancer patient. I mean, you guys are the realm. I thank God all you guys are doing well at this point, but not one of us is promised tomorrow. So this information is like golden for people to have at their fingertips. Trust me.
Absolutely. And actually, I was working with a patient 2 days ago who used their citizen profile to share it for a telehealth visit.
Wow.
So it wasn't
excellent.
And so it was an ability for them to give full access to their cancer card, so that this basically a random primary care telehealth doctor could be up to speed on what medications they were on and kind of their cancer context. They had an ear infection, and so it wasn't even like an oncology related care event, but they had the ability to share their profile with that telehealth provider, which was, I think
immediately right. Like I said, that's priceless. You can't, I mean, to have that knowledge in hand like this is amazing. And again, is it still only available to cancer patients, or have you expanded that yet?
Yeah, so we continue to focus on oncology. We are exploring at a very small scale a couple of hyper rare CNS disorders in the pediatric space but really right now, actually, not only are we focused on oncology, but we've really doubled down our focus in the breast cancer space specifically. And so we are continuing to partner with organizations across the breast cancer space and are very committed to serving both what you'd call rare subtypes as well as the entire population. And so in addition to your organization work with the Metaplastic Global Alliance, they actually also were at SABCS, which is where we met them. This is a hyper rare form of triple negative breast cancer, but all of our work, I would say majority is in breast cancer right now.
For both males and females, correct?
Yes, for males and females. And it's very important for us that we are representative and that we serve every breast cancer patient. And so, as Stacey alluded earlier, the research study in the metastatic space that we are setting up is open to both men and women. And actually, we would love to have really strong representation for men so that their metastatic experience is also documented in the research.
Excellent. And that's excellent.
And this is different. I don't know if any of your men are participating in the Count Me In and the Metastatic Breast Cancer Project, but this is different. So if people have specific questions around what the differences are, you can absolutely participate in both, and both studies, and actually many of the studies in the metastatic breast cancer space involve consenting to sharing your health data. This is just a process where you can kind of do it more click and point, as opposed to some of the other consent models.
That's excellent. Okay, so one other question. I have been considered high risk for breast cancer because of Brett, but still have not been diagnosed with breast cancer, but I am now on anathrozole as a preventative to breast cancer. Would I be able to use your app?
So I'll answer.
Great.
I will answer that as a general response. We don't currently yet support previvors. However, Stacey and I are very committed to serving the people that we partner and work very closely with. And if you would be interested in onboarding and receiving your medical records, recognizing that your cancer summary obviously won't be reflective of a cancer diagnosis.
Right.
I would be happy to.
Yeah, I would definitely like to, because it's been hell on earth since November, getting my medical records to all the 7 different doctors I had to see in this process, because
Right.
my the breast surgeon that treated Brett, he's the one that strongly suggests I go on preventative maintenance because I am at such high risk. And it was like crazy trying to get medical records every time. And if I would have had a Citizens, it would have been one click. So yeah, I'll work
I wish
with
you had
then.
asked earlier.
Yeah.
I would be very, very happy to welcome you to the platform.
Excellent. This will be good. And then I'll know more about it to tell more of these men to get on. Yeah.
It's an exception for friends. And
right.
We do hope, in the sooner than later time frame to be able to support an ever increasing scope of patients.
Very much so.
We just have to kind of grow sustainably and responsibly so that, we have the privilege of continuing to support you all.
Absolutely.
For infinity and beyond.
We want that. Especially infinity and beyond. Go ahead then.
All right. Well, I just, again, kind of jumping back into the updated onboarding flow. So you're going to see that multi-provider search, and then something we've changed, which won't necessarily apply to you all who've already onboarded. But if you recall, it wasn't necessarily the easiest thing in the world to hold up a driver's license to your webcam and take a picture and sign. And so something we've done is we've actually integrated a mobile flow to capture this information. And so what this looks like is you enter your mobile cell number, you receive a text from Citizen with a secure link. You are then invited to take a picture of the front and back of your ID, and you're going to see what that interface looks like here. We are finding that it's far more intuitive for patients to use their smartphone camera than the webcam, and so we've seen this be really successful since we implemented it about 2 months ago. This is also how you now digitally sign your release and authorization for Citizen to request your records. And so rather, again, than doing it on a touch pad or a mouse, you're able to sign digitally with your finger right in the mobile. Once you hit confirm, you go back to your desktop, and all of the information in your driver's license is automatically lifted from your ID using OCR. It's like ocular computer recognition, which is pretty cool. And then the last thing is really just showing you a recap of everything you are authorizing. As Stacey mentioned earlier, we are in the business of being utterly clear with how your health information is used. And so here you're authorizing this information for Citizen to get your records. So you'd go ahead and hit authorize and be done. So that's a quick overview of what that new onboarding process looks like. I'm going to now log into a demo account to show you some of the portal integrations that I mentioned, as well as a few new features. Most notably, the new system for keeping your records up to date and kind of how you can re-request the records. So we're waiting for all of this to load up. If you haven't been into your Citizen profile in a little while, you're going to see that we have an updated UI where every document is shown in this kind of card format, so that you kind of get a preview of the document and you have the ability to click into any given raw file and kind of scroll through it. You can download, you can share at that raw document level. So that hasn't changed, just the interface slightly. I don't have this to share yet, but we are really excited about the new DICOM reader that is getting integrated to the platform. So instead of having your images and scans be PDF stills that you can scroll through and then select which study, we're going to have a full clinical grade DICOM reader right in the platform. Wow. Along with all of the typical radiology functions around adjusting contrast, making markers, that sort of thing. And we hope that this both helps you explore your own scans better, but also if you ever share it with a provider, they're able to analyze it in a clinically, with clinical accuracy right on the Citizen platform, rather than having to download and upload and find the compatible software and all that good stuff.
So for those of you who don't know, the DICOM is a Digital Imaging and Communications. That's what it stands for. And it's the way that radiologists look at films. And so what we've been doing in the past is we've been having these images, and they're JPEGs, right? Like the pictures you take on your phone. So they just don't have the same amount of clarity, and you can't feed them into the system that they're normally used to looking them at. So super excited about this because it's almost like now, well, it's exactly like now, we're going to be able to communicate in the same language that radiologists communicate in. So
That's amazing. That is just truly amazing.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. And once that is updated, you'll get an email letting you know, so you can kind of go check out your scans in that new way. Jumping now to the patient portal integration. So if you go to the provider section of your citizen profile, you're again going to see this card view where for any given institution that you've requested records, you, let's say, click into Stanford. This is two new things here when you click into each card. One, you're going to see for every
Sophia, can I interrupt you? Can I interrupt you for just 1 second? Okay, so I want to get really excited about this, and I want people to understand what they're tuning into. We have been leaning on your HIPAA right of access, right? Your right to access your entire designated record set, your right to get that information within 30 days. And what Sophia is about to show you is something that people are normally used to seeing when they have institutions that have portals, and that's that snapshot. So early on in this process, we had a lot of conversation around, well, wait a minute, I have access to a portal, so isn't that the same thing? And the answer is no, but the other answer is it's really easy and fast to get your portal information. So what she's about to show you is that both and.
Excellent.
Thank you, Stacey. And that's a really good point of distinction because Citizen does two things now. We both get the portal data, which we find is anywhere from 5 to 10% of the data actually in your medical record. And we also leverage your HIPAA right of access to get absolutely everything directly from the HIM department. We now give you the opportunity to do both and integrate in one place both data sources. And so the way that you can do this is if you click into any one of your providers, here I'm showing UCSF Children's Benioff, you're going to have three kind of subheaders. One is requests. So now you can see what the status of a given request is and what step in the process it is. So here we're in step 1 of 3, it might say 2 of 3. And then when your records are available, you'll be able to hit that button and see them directly. They'll also show up down here, which is hopefully easier to navigate from a user experience perspective. Before we jump to the patient portal, however, this update requested button would say update my records if it hadn't already been clicked by a previous demoer. But effectively what this button allows you to do is log in and let the Citizen team know that you'd like your records refreshed. Maybe you've had some updated scans, visited your oncologist. And so this is the way that you can now do this as needed. And that button again lives within the card of a given facility. Jumping now to the patient portal, you're going to be able to get some records immediately. And when we say immediately, it's really 5 minutes, but in terms of data access, it's pretty fast. If you hit this download from portal button, oh, come on, pop-up window blocked. Oh, man. Okay, well, we're just going to have to do a little imagination with me here. I seem to have pop-ups disabled on my browser, which makes this challenging. But effectively what happens is when you hit this download from portal button, a pop-up comes up with UCF Benioff Children's Hospital's login to MyChart. You enter your username and password, and then you kind of read their terms and conditions and you hit I authorize to share my portal data with Citizen. And then we automatically kind of receive that. And when I say automatically or immediately, it's actually 5 minutes. And then once those records are received, we structure that data into kind of a PDF that will also show up here. This is a great feature for labs or any sort of routine care that you get maybe more frequently than the cadence in which you update your full record set. And so wanted to show you this new feature that we've rolled out. Any questions there?
That's excellent. God, that'll make life so much easier. Oh my God.
And as always, the cancer summary is something we continue to improve. We have a big release coming out next week, which is improving our metastatic data model. And what that'll allow us to do is, if you see here, this is Tanya, our founder's little sister's profile. As you can see, she experienced significant metastases. The way that cancer progresses and you're treated, you want to be able to map lines of treatment, tumor sizing, progression by met site. And so the new disease model that's rolling out will allow you to visualize that right here in your cancer card if that's something that applies to you. It's also just strengthening the kind of relationship between all these data entities in our data model. And I know while this is all back-end things, the reason I'm surfacing it is because when we start talking about research applications of your citizen profile and really just how powerful this data can be, we're also working to do that mapping and data modeling so that researchers can learn as much as possible from your experience should you choose to share your records for research. So that is the new grand tour of some of the product updates and features we've released. Are there any questions or things people would want me to go over again? I know we're going lightning fast.
So we have the metastatic other part that we've talked about, but I have not shared out to any of the guys. Are you going to go over that, where you're going to want them to participate in?
Oh, no. Yes. So
Okay,
actually, great. Why don't we jump to that right away, and then I will share all of these links with you all. Excellent. In a way that has tokens and all that, Stace or Peggy, as we've discussed. But
yeah, because I can send out a follow-up email from the call too, so that'll be great. Okay.
So we are really excited to launch what we are hoping is going to be the first of many, many patient-driven research studies that leverages the power of your individual citizen profiles when applied to research. So in conjunction with breastcancer.org and through the support of the Male Breast Cancer Coalition, the Metaplastic Group, and a growing number of partners that we'll be updating soon, we're looking to study 100 people with metastatic breast cancer, both male and female, to get a better understanding of how treatment usage and frequency is administered. This research will be done entirely based on the medical records in your citizen profile. There's nothing you have to do, no surveys you have to fill out. All of the value and power of your data is already in your profile. We're just asking that you choose to consent to this research project. This website about the research, obviously, a little information about Citizen, but also overviews kind of how the study will work. The first is, members like you can sign up and request your records. Sounds like a vast majority of you have. If you are metastatic and this is a study that you are interested in participating in, you would consent to share for research. This is something that you may have already consented to in the past, but you can always check your preferences by going into My Info, writing your citizen profile. It's a button in the upper right corner. A team of researchers here at Citizen, led by Alexa Burke, who is a real-world evidence expert, will analyze the health information, and then BCO and Citizen will be publishing our findings, and most importantly, sharing directly with every single participant the outcome of that research. We believe very strongly that the people who are making research possible should reap the benefits and the insights of said research. And so we are very committed to returning those findings to you at the personal level, as well as, to the community. And so we also plan to publish this at breastcancer.org and perhaps a few other places. So that's an overview of the research study. Lastly, if there are men, women in the breast cancer space you would want to invite to Citizen, we always encourage you to refer a friend or share our partnership with them, both to participate in the research, but more broadly to just create their Citizen profiles for their own use as well.
That's wonderful. Excellent. Does anybody here have any questions about that or about the study and stuff?
Hi, this is Bill.
There's Bill Harris. Okay.
How's everybody doing?
Good, Bill. Welcome from California.
Thank you. Yes, sorry, I joined a little late, so I missed the first 10 or 12 minutes of the
We've
discussion.
recorded it, so I'll be putting it back up, so you'll see it.
Great. Let me ask, from the point I joined in about half an hour ago, the information that we are giving permission to download is specifically about our cancer treatment, or does it also include all of our medical history? For many of us, I think one of the concerns is interactions between treatments. I have a very serious RA issue. My arthritis plagued me much longer actually than I've been involved in my breast cancer battle. And for my rheumatologist who wants to prescribe medications, there's also a very large discussion between my oncologist, surgeon, and the rheumatologist about what medications might interfere, might not interfere, and the question that there are some that they don't know whether they interfere or have any involvement. And it may, at some point, we might find, I guess, that some medications interact poorly, not so much that you got sick from it immediately, but that long-term there might be some interactions. Does that information play into this?
Yeah.
So, yes.
Okay. Sorry for the long question. I'm glad of a short answer.
No, I think actually I'm really grateful that you asked that question, because I think it's a great way to highlight how powerful having your full longitudinal clinical history in one place can be. It gives researchers the opportunity to study you as more than just an oncology patient, but just as Bill and kind of your entire experience in sum. We have a lot of very compelling conversations with academic research, with industry partners around studying cancer and relative comorbidities and underlying conditions. And so I think there's a lot of interest to better study the interaction. And a platform like Citizen and your profile is well poised to enable that research. And so that's something that we're really excited about.
And I'll just add to that, it will be as comprehensive as you would like it to be. Meaning there are some people who maybe don't want records from certain facilities as part of this, and they have their reasons. So we only pull the information, we only facilitate pulling the information that you request. Like you, I think it's impossible to treat the whole person without having the whole story. So our goal is to help you get the whole story.
That's great. And a follow-up, which don't know that you covered or not. Did you cover any discussion about the security of this data, how you're protecting it?
We haven't explicitly. Stacy, I know this is something you're very passionate about. Do you want to maybe address the many ways that we safeguard your privacy on the platform?
Yeah, so I want to do two things, and I know you specifically asked about security, and sometimes in the general public there's a conflation between the security of the data and the privacy of data, and the reality is we care about both. One of the things we didn't go through today because everybody else was already on the platform already, was to talk about the second hire at Citizen, and that woman is a woman by the name of Devin McGraw. And so Devin was formerly the deputy of privacy at HHS. So when we think Health and Human Services, and so when we think about HIPAA and we think about all of the guidelines related to HIPAA, Devin is actually the one who wrote the guidance. She didn't write the law. She wrote the guidance on how to adhere to HIPAA. So we get the privacy pieces, absolutely, and she's built her career on making sure that people can maintain that level of privacy. From a security standpoint, this is more around once your data is living in a place or as it's going from one place to another, is there the opportunity for people to grab it and to do bad things with it? We work with Amazon Web Services. Sometimes that statement either makes people feel very, very comfortable or not comfortable. But the reality is AWS, well, the reality is they have built their business on that. And so they take security seriously because the trust of the market is kind of dependent on that. Everything is encrypted. We do follow, again, this is the privacy security fuzzy line, but Citizen itself is HIPAA compliant because you are requesting data. There isn't a need legally. We're not providing you any medical guidance. We're not, doing anything like that, but the decision was made very early on in the company's formation that we would be HIPAA compliant. And if you guys are familiar with HIPAA, it's not just around how your data, I don't know if you've been to the doctor's office and they say, oh, stay 10 feet away. Well, before COVID, stay 10 feet away. So you didn't hear people's names, right? Because they were trying to kind of protect that. Well, there's practices that people have to put in place to be considered HIPAA compliant, and those practices are around the way that people operate with the data. So there are people that will see your data. This is the science team, this is the clinical team that's going to, after the algorithm starts to pull that relevant information and put it into a cancer summary view, these are the people with a clinical background that are going to check it. So I'm not going to say nobody else is going to see your data, because they will. But they are using the HIPAA compliant practices.
Well, in fact, I would assume that in doing this, we've basically provided you with a release for that, being able to view our data. That's actually not as much of a concern for me. I follow that and understand it. My wife used to work in a medical practice and stuff like that. My concern has more to do with the security of the data in your servers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what you're doing in order to ensure, as far as you can ensure, that the data, if hacked, is not readily usable. Is it encrypted in your systems? You're using state-of-the-art firewalls and stuff of that nature in terms of physically protecting the data from being accessed illegally. Not so
from
much
being
that
hacked
someone
into.
knows that it's me, but
Yes.
I just spent 2 days dealing with AT&T, where my account apparently was hacked to the point where I was getting emails on what appeared to be official AT&T electronic letterhead with my accurate account numbers and other details, including address and stuff like that, and who was on the account. So even
Wow.
AT&T is not all that well protected, obviously. None of us really are 100% protected, but it raised my concern from where it had been, which was pretty high to begin with, about the security of the data. I'm not worried about an authorized person viewing my medical data, especially when I volunteer to have it involved in this kind of a system. So
yeah, I will.
it's a much higher
tell you,
level of security I'm talking about.
Yeah, your data is encrypted. As I mentioned, we are using Amazon Web Services, and that can make you feel comfortable or uncomfortable. But I would be lying. Anybody would be lying if we said that there's no possible way anybody could hack into your data. We've seen health systems hacked. We've seen banks hacked. We've seen, but yeah, our intent is to protect your data, as much as technologically possible.
Hey, Bill, it's Mike Singer.
Hey, Mike.
I've been with them since the beginning, and I haven't had anything wonky go on, no strange emails or, unusual people reaching out to me. So far, I've been really thrilled with the service. And I don't know if you were on earlier when Sophia was talking about someone recently used their portal to share their medical information with one of these new telehealth, talking to a doctor to share files, because I could see it for myself that if I needed to do the telehealth, which knock on wood, I haven't had to use so far, but I can see it happening in the near future, that
Yeah.
this would be an amazing tool to have in your toolbox. But I
Right.
haven't had
And
anything strange or unusual go on since I've been with the portal.
great.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So anybody else have questions at hand? Thank you, Bill, for that. That was great insight. So good questions.
My pleasure.
Definitely. And then, Bill, one question. Since you're dealing with the rheumatoid arthritis and the male breast cancer, have you ever talked to Dr. Lopa Desroy?
No, I haven't.
That was her research, and she's with us. She's one of our amazing ladies, and she went away from that research, but I am going to connect you to.
That'd be
That's
great.
what she discovered, that rheumatoid arthritis feeds breast cancer, male breast cancer, and women breast cancer. This is her whole study, her whole deal, and she is going to start a whole nother study down in Houston. So I want to get you connected with
That'd be
at Baylor
fascinating.
University,
Baylor,
so you
okay.
could be prime with
Great.
her and two other scientists. They were at San Antonio Breast Cancer Symposium, and they met there in December, and it was just amazing, these minds working together saying, oh my God, what I've researched and what you're going to research, we can make such big changes. So I will connect you to.
Terrific. Thanks, Peggy.
Excellent. Okay, go ahead, everybody, and then Stacy and Sophia, I turn it back to you.
I just popped up the ever handsome Michael.
He's there.
We're gonna put him in a Buzz Lightyear suit now, because I think the To Infinity and Beyond thing is.
Yes.
I think that has legs.
I love it.
More
That's an
just
awesome
from
picture, Michael.
Infinity
like it,
and
Michael.
beyond. That's
That's right.
That phrase. Yeah.
That's
And Bill,
it's just perfect.
the other thing, Bill, is every doctor or medical facility I listed when I first signed up, they aggregated everything and put it in chronological order. So even though maybe some things weren't breast cancer, it was still in the file. So if it's rheumatoid arthritis, everything's there and it's in order. So it's pretty cool.
Excellent.
So this way the doctors can treat the person with all the medical information there, which is a beautiful thing for them.
It is, yeah. It is something I think that is more recently coming to light in terms of treating the whole person, rather than the very narrowed focus treatment. We had to manage our own drug interaction issues and things of that nature, because so many physicians over the years have been trained to be so narrowly focused.
Yes.
And
this way they have all the information at one place. I mean, it's just amazing. It really, truly is.
And
I
Bill,
mean, to
one
the
of the
point,
things,
as we're all very familiar with, is how many doctors that we've spoken to ourselves as patients have talked to us as the first male breast cancer patient of theirs.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
I hear that daily.
Most of the doctors I've spoken to have always said, "Oh yeah, they mentioned something in class about that."
Yes.
That was the extent of it. So
exactly. So it's just crazy.
Bill, one of the other things I just want to bring up, because one of the things you said just kind of jogged my memory. When I got affiliated with well before Citizen, this was a previous company Anil had created that was also about people getting control of their health data. I went to try to get my prior, like before my cancer diagnosis, data, and I couldn't because it was gone. And so our health data doesn't live in the health system in perpetuity. There's different laws that regulate how long people have to keep it, and a lot of this is legacy from when records were in paper. And so moving forward, there is the possibility that, you know, more things will be kept longer because it doesn't take up space. It's, you know, it's digital. But that's not the same for images. Images are huge. They're huge files. It costs a lot of money to keep them, you know, on servers. So hopefully lots of us experience long periods, forever periods, maybe even of NED, of no evidence of disease. But if we were to recur, if we were to metastasize, and we don't have possession of that health data, it's going to be harder to treat us as a whole person because there's a significant health history that we may not have documentation for unless we get control of it now. And I know that, you know, it goes against what Citizen is trying to do from a technology standpoint, but it's every fiber of Citizen's being will say, if you don't want to use the platform, that's okay, but know that you have a right to access all of your health information and get control of it now. If you want to keep it in a binder, if you want to put it on a CD, but get control of it now before it's not able to be gotten anymore.
Very true. Yeah, oh, right there, Michael's got his flash drive.
Sophia, I have a question about the metastatic research project. If I'm talking to somebody about it, and I'm talking about Citizen, but I also mention breastcancer.org, is there a link from breastcancer.org to get back to Citizen, or will they only be able to access it through Citizen?
So the study is open to anyone and everyone, whether you are affiliated with breastcancer.org or not. What I can work with Peggy to make sure everyone in the group has is access to your unique access link so that we know anyone who signs up for Citizen and consents to join the research is coming from the Male Breast Cancer Coalition. And so we have that capability, and I'll make sure, you know, Peggy and I are the link masters, but would love for you to share this research study with anyone who you think would be interested in. And again, it's really just signing up for Citizen and consenting to share your records. It's a great example of how powerful everything in your medical record is. You just have to, as Stacey said, be in control of it and choose who you share it with. And so we're just excited about creating this first opportunity of research. We hope it's the first of many, many more, kind of as we start to really leverage the power of these cohorts and of the patients who are aggregating on Citizen. I know when we first started working with you all, we were in a much smaller private beta. I want to make sure that everyone knows that we are supporting all breast cancer patients. And so if you have a family member, male or female, or someone who you think could benefit from Citizen, you are more than welcome to invite them. And we actually would strongly encourage and love if you could share what we're building with them. So I just wanted to call that out as well.
Yeah, and I'll be updating the resource page. That will have one which will have the study that they want on there, and the other will be our connection with just getting people to sign up for Citizens too. So you can share that directly from our website and or the Brothers page. I'll be putting it on both locations and sending it out in an email mass, so you'll have it to forward. We'll get that all done and updated. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, and I know we're running out of time here shortly, but something that I would love to kind of leave everyone with is if there are research questions or particular things that you as an organization or as a group would want to explore, we are all ears. We would love to craft additional research together with you that represents kind of the interest and voice of your community. We have, as I mentioned, Alexa, who now heads up our research team and are growing in our capability of doing studies like this. So in that vein, if you have ideas or want to talk research possibilities, we're all ears and would love to make that a collaborative process and really kind of, you know,
well then, yeah, I think maybe then I should definitely connect. You and I get on a call and we connect Dr. Lopo Desroy and his name from Baylor. And Stacy, I think you met him in December. I introduced you guys too. And
I did.
yeah,
I did. And is Lopa back? I know her
yeah,
last time her dad
she got
died.
back. Her dad passed away. But the yes, and they're going forward with this research in his labs in Baylor. He's gotten the full approval for it all. So
Mhm.
I think bringing you all into that scenario would be huge, because they're going to concentrate on men, but also women in breast cancer, but focusing on the male. And it's about, and again, a lot of it's above my head, but it's about their research is going to deal with the tissue samples that have to be held anyway from all you men with the tumors, and getting that tissue and being able to re-evaluate the difference between male breast cancer and female breast cancer and the tumors that are growing and that they were able to remove. And that's as much as I can remember what they're talking about. But it's amazing what they're going to do. I mean, it's just, and like I say, I'd love to get you guys back on a conference call and let you all talk and see how Citizen could help them push this out, because that's what
Yeah.
needs to be done.
You know, Peggy, we would love to connect with that physician at Baylor. One of the advantages
Yeah.
we're finding as we work increasingly with academic medical institutions is that by recruiting patients through the Citizen platform in close partnership with advocacy groups, we're effectively creating multi-center studies without any of the headache of multiple IRBs, of the infighting of who owns what data, because it sits out structurally outside of the institution. And so we've got a lot of academic researchers who are super excited to do research with us.
And Lopa understands everything you're saying. Okay. So that's why you all talking. And again, Dr. Benny, that's his, okay. And those two get it. They understand everything you're talking about scientifically, and Lopa's the type that has everything documented wherever she gets her information. I mean, she's a brilliant researcher and doctor, and she's the one that created Breast Cancer Hub to go back to India, where because the women even in India don't get treated for breast cancer. And she goes back once a year to help her people. Her father and mother are both doctors, but her father just passed away recently. And this is her mission. This is why she left research, but her and Dr. Benny are now going to go back into the labs, because he's already got all the funding for Baylor to do this research. And it was just amazing to sit there and listen to them at San Antonio Breast Cancer Symposium pull this, for them to meet for the first time and pull it together, say, oh my God, what we can do to make this change. And it'll be for men and women. So that's why it's all in the process right now. But this is how networking and guys that we help make the difference for you all. So
wonderful.
We'll keep it going.
It's really a case where the more the merrier.
Yes.
The more and more men who are on the platform, the more and more breast cancer patients. We have several thousand patients on the Citizen platform now, so the numbers are steadily growing. You're able to power statistically significant research, and so all of your ongoing support and collaboration and getting people to sign up and join us on the platform is so appreciated, and we're excited to be creating more and more research opportunities to kind of harness the power of the group. So
this is wonderful.
Very grateful to be working with you all, and excited for many more exciting things.
Well, we thank you all, and
wonderful to see you. Stay
together
safe.
we will, and together we will change the world that men have breasts too.
Peggy,
all right, I'm gonna try to make mama burgers.
All right, go home. Yeah, go to your kitchen, do the mama burgers. Just remember, we'd be having them tonight at the conference.
I'm coming back when we can travel. I'm coming. I don't care what day it is.
You darn right. We're gonna still have mama burgers in the whole thing at Lowe's and everything. So,
Peggy,
all right.
Can I just say that we actually posted. We have a blog on ANCAN, which is really. It concerns all of the conditions for which we hold support groups. We don't post as much for male breast cancer as we should do, but we do post. And I don't know if Peggy caught this, but we just put a post on there with a reference to the ASCO new guidelines for male breast cancer.
Yeah, we shared that out on MBCC Brothers already. Yeah, I put
Okay.
that out there.
So,
Yeah, the minute you sent it to me, we put it out.
okay.
So that's awesome. Yes, 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 sir. I appreciate that. And again, that's how we're all going to keep things going, by networking, getting our brain power to share with each other. But without Mr. Rick and Ann Kim, we couldn't be doing these meetings, because we're so wealthy at the Male Breast Cancer Coalition. We have all the heart in the world, but we don't have a damn dime to our name. But money doesn't matter, right? That's the whole thing. Bottom line is, our heart will take us through, guys. So. Again, I wish we were having the conference this week, but let's get everybody well, get this damn pandemic. It will never go away, but get it under control.
That may be of interest to you. And maybe we can even figure out a way, because we have time to work this in. We're working on producing a webinar at the end of June, an hour, probably hour and 50 minutes, hour and a half. We're calling it The Talk. And initially it's focused at men talking to their children, their sons and their daughters.
I love it.
If they have prostate cancer. But it occurs, and we're also going to have one couple, we're going to have one pair that's a father and a daughter where there's a BRCA mutation involved.
Wow,
and,
that would be good.
We think it's very important. Nobody's really ever done this before. And Peggy and I can talk. What we could do is either try and incorporate you, or maybe we can do a repetition of this webinar that focuses on breast cancer, both male and female.
Sure. We have many men and women, husband and wife couples that are breast cancer survivors. So
right.
you may want to, I'll get you a couple of the couples that might want to be part of this.
Repeat it if it's successful. We'll repeat it, but we'll do it for we definitely want to do it for ovarian cancer. Maybe we can do it for breast cancer too. I
think it'd be amazing. That would be cool. Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you all. Have a good one until we meet next month.
Stay safe, everybody, and stay well.
Yes, everybody.
Stay safe and well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Everyone.
Bye-bye. Yep, you guys too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.